A girl from Hinge helped me believe in God again. Normally, I write notes and I go through bullet points, but I really wanted this story time to be exclusive to just my thoughts right now and just be fully open with you guys about it. It's a pretty interesting story, so bear with me. I will be doing jump cuts in between if I start to get yappy, stuttering, or there's dead space. So, I met this girl actually initially in high school, and she was dating my little brother's childhood best friend. So they weren't good friends in high school. Like we were, cordial, like semi friends, but we weren't close in high school and junior high before we were. He used to ride the bus home with us, but they were dating in high school for like a year or two, and then so this guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he actually ended up becoming a monk in the faith she believes in, and he broke up with her to become a monk, and so that person now is a monk in Thailand, a part of which is now my faith, and he lives there, and so it's pretty crazy introduction. But that's how I knew this girl, is because she was dating him, and one time he needed a ride home, and I gave him a ride home because he lived in my neighborhood, and then she was with him, whatever. So I gave them a ride home. That's the first time I saw her, but it wasn't until after high school that I matched with her on Hinge. And we went on a first date, and it didn't really involve God, and actually a lot of my beliefs did not align with hers. I was actually an atheist at the time. I grew up Mormon, and I live in Utah, so it's pretty standard to be in that stage where you are Mormon and then you go through this phase like, oh, I like, why do I even believe in anything? It's like kind of like stereotypical emo. I actually painted my nails black for like 2 weeks. That's how you know I was in like an emo phase. Not gay, by the way. Just have to say that. The people that try to say that. So I started going out with this girl, and I really liked her, and we connected really well. She is very much my type. Like I feel like Kanye West said this once. Every guy has like their character build that they always go to when they're trying to be in a relationship. Like this certain build, certain hair, certain height, and she matched that. And so I was very interested in her, and we kept going out, and she became my girlfriend. And she would always be going to this temple in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I was like, what is this? Like, why do you always have to be there? Like, what is it? Like, can I come to it? And I was curious because I heard the word temple, and I always think of Mormon temples. And maybe other people have used the word temple differently based on where you live. But to me, I always think of Mormon temples. And so I'd have this connotation of like, what the fuck could this actually be? And then she brought me. Hold on, let me get some water real quick. And so when she brought me, I was very hesitant to take in the information of this faith. This faith could be considered a lineage of Hinduism. I'm not a Hindu. It's called Vaishnavism. And I have a video explaining what the faith actually believes in, because if you try to Google it, you'll get a very odd interpretation of it, and it is not the truth and lacks the substance and appreciation of God that going to the temple and talking to somebody who's a part of the faith actually does. But when I first walked in, there were certain things that I wasn't fond of initially until I started asking more questions. There were like certain deity type things where I was like, what the fuck is this, like Midsummer A24 ass like horror film shit? Like that's what I felt like. And so I just stayed there, and I was patient because she's my girlfriend at the time. She ended up becoming my girlfriend. And I eventually over time started to ask more questions, like, why is it Indian writing, Vedic or Sanskrit, which is the actual word, but like I didn't know that at the time. I just was like, what the fuck is this Indian writing? And so she would start to tell me the reason for everything, where it derived from, what they actually believe in, and why certain things symbolize certain things. So like, what is this deity, or what is this scripture line? Like, what do these certain things mean? And as compared to the other faiths that I had tried to be a part of, this time there was an answer for everything. There was an answer towards what happens when a soul takes their own life. So when somebody takes their own life in this world, what is the material world, which is something she actually kind of brought towards me. certain concepts I never thought about. What is our soul? What is our purpose with God? Why are we on earth? Why are we in a temporary body? What is the purpose of relationships in our life? How do we get back to God? What is pure things in others? Why is this certain thing bad? Why is this certain thing good? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? There was an answer for everything I asked, and it was coherent, and it also resonated with me and my soul. And I was fully in a state of trying to understand it as opposed to neglecting it. And it actually, because I was in that state, everything resonated with me way more. I wasn't shunning it away. I also wasn't taking it at first glance because I'd ask more questions. So as I started to ask more questions, I started to realize that this all makes sense, and it is the true reason of why we are here on earth. And there was no denying it, because it was backed by science, and it was backed by love. And as I started to become closer to the faith, I started to realize a few things. And if you're a believer in God, you understand this, hopefully. I started to realize that I need to become detached from everything materially. And this is where people in Buddhism, they do it without purpose. And so in my faith, we believe in detachment, but also taking part in reality. So you need to be detached from the outcome, but you need to take part in reality and offer it to God, because God has lessons for you to learn in every situation here on earth. That is why, there's certain things play out the way they're always supposed to because of karma. And so part of my karma was being introduced to this faith. I was blessed to some degree in a past lifetime. And also, my faith believes in reincarnation, because if you want to go to my other video, I'll explain it more detailed, but our souls are in material bodies to get back to God. So God gave us free choice, free will, which is part of the material world. That is the choice of going to the material world, because we were all with God. He created the material world so our souls could choose to have freedom and certain desires. And basically, the whole goal of here is to not want to be like God, but to be back with God and realize that that's where our soul belongs. Because if you're living for things here, you are basically saying that you want to be worshipped to some degree, and you want the temporary desires, and you want them forever. And that is not true. That is not what God actually wants for us, and that is not what is truly eternal. And our souls are eternal, and our souls are meant to be with God in the spiritual world. And so there are two worlds. There's the spiritual world where God resides, and there is the material world, which is delusion. And it is full of temporariness, and everything here is fleeting, coming and going, and you need to detach yourself from this and only focus on the eternal timeline and eternal end goal. And I talked about this in another video. I recommend you go watch it. It's a whiteboard lecture of me explaining everything. Consciousness, everything. So I started to ask all these questions, and there was always an answer. And me and her started to, our relationship started to decline because I had a lot of immature characteristics because of, probably from my lack of faith in God and my lack of being able to detach from things emotionally. I was always dependent emotionally on outcomes that would happen to me. So when certain things would happen in a relationship, I would always amplify it and, take it super personally. But it wasn't until me and her started breaking up where I started to actually understand a lot of the lessons she told me, ironically, about detachment and faith in God, and realizing that, people and things come and go in your life, and there's only one thing that stays, and that is God. And that is why we must devote our life to God. And ironically, that was the reason me and her ended up breaking up, is because I didn't have that connection with God. And so everything happens for a reason. And I'm happier with the way me and her relationship played out, because it led me to having a stronger faith in God. And I'm so close with her parents. She's married now and actually has a kid. I love her parents. Her family's just awesome. She's awesome. She educated me about God. My soul has a, not like an actual debt, but there's a gratitude I feel for her for, being the one who introduced me to these conceptions in this lifetime. And so being able to learn this from her and continue my spiritual journey about understanding God and Vedic literature and Vaishnavism has given me my true purpose in life, and that is why I even made this YouTube channel. And maybe I'll make a more artistic version explaining this for my main channel, but I really wanted to talk about the story because I don't need notes for it, because it's probably the main purpose of my existence is everything I've learned within this. And karma is real, our souls are real, God is real, there's a purpose in every action. You are meant to offer your life to God. You are meant to be detached from temporary things, because everything here is temporary, but that doesn't mean you should stop yourself from loving in this world and taking part in the obstacles in front of you, because there is purpose in everything. And it all takes part in getting back to God, is learning how to offer our existence always for Him. And somebody said this to me once, it's like understanding your part in God's play is how you get back to Him. And so until you can realize why you are here and your purpose in the material world, and that is, offering everything to God and worshiping Him to the highest scale you can, until you can do that in the material world and truly think of Him always in every action, you will not get back, and you will be in a material state of consciousness that will suffer at some point. And that doesn't mean you should be scared of the journey ahead, and you should view it as a warrior, almost like some Ash Ketchum or whatever anime or cartoon you like. You should view it as the main character that is always hopeful and ready for whatever there is in front of them, and ready to learn and progress closer to God, and you should take pride in it, and you should be happy that you have the chance to even comprehend that God exists, because there are beings out there that don't. So if you're seeing this video, you're blessed to some degree, and God has purpose for you. And I hope that, if you watch this video and you're curious about my faith and have questions, hopefully I can answer them, or I can direct you to somewhere that will be able to. I have true faith in Vaishnavism and God, because it has not given me a limited answer of reality. It has answered everything, and it's all been correlated back to eternity and where God resides and love of God. And so it has not yet been contradicted. It has an answer for everything, and I hope I can be the person who helps you find it. And yeah, also I wanted to point out before I end off that me and her, we're not like the best state. Like, I could probably talk to her and it would go smoothly, whatever, but we do have unresolved issues, and we are still working on it over time. But I don't hate her, she doesn't hate me, and at some point it will be resolved. But I'm still close to their family. I actually went on a trip to Thailand to learn more about my faith, and I'm making a documentary about that. And so relationships take time. God has purpose in everything. It will get resolved if God wills it to. And so, but yeah, me and her family are so close. So there's a lot of stories with me and her and to do with my faith, and hopefully I can share more of them with you. But it is a very interesting story, because what are the odds you meet a girl on Hinge and she ends up giving you your entire worldview that you honestly were searching for? So interesting story time. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.